Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rachak, Wadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. And also honor and salutations to those of you who are of the hopeful elect and are out there teaching the word of sincerity and truth. So I wanted to get into this topic. I was scrolling through YouTube shorts and a clip which I'll show in just a second of this Edomite came up, and it looked like one of those. I think they're calling it speed debate. Like, so it's set up like how you would go to like a. Well, I'm saying it like I've been in, but I mean like if you've seen the movie Hitch, there was a scene in the movie where they were speed dating, and you kind of just whoever goes to the table next, and you kind of go on like a 2 minute date or something like that. And so that's what they have this forum set up like. Um, Speed debating, or there's a let's say a special guest, and then he's circled, and each person gets a chance to go up to him and debate for a few minutes. And so it's just a clip. I didn't go to the whole thing, but in the clip there was this angry Edomite who was saying that he was or his people were Native Americans. Like they like he I'm trying to not to be too silly about it, but he was saying that white people are Native Americans. And what it sounds like is they were debating on who this guy, who was the guest debater, was and what was his lineage. And he was saying, I'm not Indian, I'm American, I was born here. And then there was some argument back and forth, but I just wanted to play this clip and then tell you where the thought came from. So let me go here and then share this so it can play. On turn the volume down. I think I got a little bit too high. But hopefully you can hear this. I'll play it.
You're from India, so I don't really.
I'm not from India.
Oh, sorry, your parents are from India, so
I'm an American
you have
citizen.
your own states.
I'm an American,
You're an American citizen? Okay.
Right. So he said he was an American citizen, right? Because he was born here, right? Which is that's the American way, right? If you were born in a land, right? If you were born here in this land, then you're a citizen, which is they're changing a lot of those rules and laws now, especially with ICE cracking down on immigration. That can't save you anymore with this I was born here talk, right? But let's keep going.
Fair enough. I don't know how you got that, but fair enough.
Look, so his statement was, I don't know how you got that, but fair enough, right? So in other words, just because you were born here doesn't make you American, right? But listen to what he says.
Here's the thing.
Are you an American citizen?
Absolutely.
Right. So he says, are you an American citizen? And look how confidently he says, absolutely, right? Keep going.
Okay.
But here's the
Not
thing.
sure how you got that. Okay.
Yeah, so he's giving it back to him. Not sure how you got that, but okay, right? So listen to what this Edomite says in response.
Born here.
Okay.
He was born here. So you just told the other guy that he couldn't have been an American citizen by being born here, but somehow you can be an American citizen because you were born here. And it speaks to the delusion of the Edomite. And it brings me to the topic of the show, which is really you don't have any culture. Really, you don't have any land of origin. Your culture, right, has been to pillage. Your culture has been to go around in the earth and take until there is no more. A matter of fact, since I said that, let's go here. What is that scripture? I thought it was Micah. It is. So let's go here. And then I'll go back to that clip. So this is Micah uh 2, and I'll start at 1 here. It says, woe to them that devise iniquity, right? And work evil upon their beds, right? Because how did they gain anything that they have, whether it be wealth, whether it be land, whether it be natural resources, whether it be slaves, any way that they've or let me say anything that they've assimilated to themselves, anything that they've garnered, right, has all been through iniquity, devised iniquity. Let's look at this word devise real quick, see what that says. Right? To think, plan, esteem, calculate, right? Invent, make a judgment, imagine, count, right? And so this is how they've I keep saying the word assimilated, but this is how they've captured all the world, right? Look, cunning, right? uh Forecast, impute, account, right? So everything that they let's say is theirs, they've had some cunning plan, right, to get it. Let's go back. Right? So they've devised iniquity, right? They've thought of some evil, wicked plan. Matter of fact, um, let's see. Is that Micah too? Yeah, yep. That's the next damn sentence. So let's stay here. So it says, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand, right? So all night, they sit up at night pondering how they can conquer something, pondering how they can steal something, and then justify it on the back end so it can't be taken back from them, right? This is Edomite culture. This is what so most culture, right? We can talk about it like this, right? Within each of the tribes, there is remnants of our ancient culture, right? The way we clean ourselves, dance, music, language, food, right? You can still see remnants of that culture embedded in our spirit, right? When you go into the law, statutes, and commandments, right? You hear things like the meat should be mingled in flour and cooked in oil, right? That's fried chicken, man. So there's there's remnants of our ancient culture still stuck, let's say adhered to our spirit, right? And a lot of it manifests itself, right? But when you go to the Edomite culture, right? What is it that where's their origin, right? You can say England, right? But then you would have to come to terms with the fact that the word Britain goes back to the word that means covenant people, right? Which are who? The children of Israel. Every place you've been in the earth that you've called your own was someone else's first, right? Which we'll get into, right? Because the scriptures point that out as your modus operandi. That's what you are. You are a thief. You steal, you take, right? Matter of fact, let's see. Let's go here. I don't know why I closed that tab. Let's go here. Mhm. Okay, this is Genesis, and then I'll go back to Micah. This is Genesis 27, and I'm going to start at 37 here. It says this. Just to give a little background, this is Esau, the father of the Edomites, asking for a blessing from their father Isaac, right? There being Esau and Jacob's father Isaac, our forefather Jacob, their forefather Esau. Esau asking for a blessing from his father Isaac, right? After he was supplanted for that blessing in one case, and then sold his blessing in another, right? So now he's trying to look, there got to be something in that bag for me, Dad, right? So this is Genesis 27 and 37. It says, and Isaac answered and said unto Esau, behold, I have made him thy Lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants, and with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? And Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. Right? And this is what they've done throughout history. Live by the sword. And what do you do with the sword? You take. Right? And we're gonna get into this a little bit, right? Because I want to write this down. I don't want to forget this thought here. Okay. So you do have a rich history, but you have to understand where it is, what it is. Your history is rich, right? It's thickened. You can go throughout secular history and figure out what you've been and what you've done, but it's only been to pillage and take. You've never been an original person anywhere. Even in Seir, the land that bears your namesake, Edom, right, was taken from the Horites, right? Now, one could say, well, Jacob went into the land of Canaan and took the land of Canaan. But the difference is that land that we took from Canaan was promised to us. That's the difference. Any land that Esau has taken, he has stolen, right? And then called those lands after his own name, right? Let me write that down. I'll forget that one. All right. So let's go back to Micah, right? It says this in verse 2, and they covet fields, right? They covet fields. We know what covet means, but let's go into that, right? Let's dig in there a little bit. Covet. To desire, covet, take pleasure in, delight in. To desire, to be desirable, to delight greatly, desire greatly, right? So to want something, to desire something. And what did it say? That they covet fields, right? Which is land, right? And take them take them by violence. So you can't say you're a native here. You took this land from somebody else. How can you be a native here? And the I'll say the Indian guy, because I don't know who he is, asked a good question. Where were your people before the 1500s? What were they doing here in America before the 1500s? And you see how he tried to marginalize it. Oh, somebody else was here before. Yeah, somebody was here before you, and this land was here, and they were thriving here until your Edomite hands was sunken into the soil here, and you took it. Right? You got this guy. I want to say his name is Montezino, who went to Tenochtitlan and seen in Mexico, what's now Mexico City, how beautiful it was, and wanted it for himself and his people. This is your history and your culture. No land on this earth is yours. The scriptures say in 2nd Ezra, the 6th chapter, that the earth was made for our sakes. Nothing in this earth has been for you. Nothing. You've anything that you have, you've stolen. And as the scripture says here, taken by violence. Okay. And houses, and take them away, so they oppress a man and his house. Right? This is their history. This is their culture. This is what they've done in the world. They've taken even a man and his what? Heritage, right? So you oppress a man in his house, you take his fields by violence. And this is what, a matter of fact, I got another video I want to play in just a minute, but this is their culture. This is, as the elder Apostle Gabar taught me, their modus operandi. This is their MO. This is what they do. And this is how we were able to figure out who the Edomites were, because they've left this imprint in the earth. My dad, when I was a kid, he said, that's Satan. That's Satan. That's what they say in Arabic, right? Because you've gone throughout the world taking, stealing, oppressing. That's your heritage. That's your culture. But they're ashamed of it. They're ashamed of it. They have been the only power that has ruled that didn't do so with some level of benevolence. Their power has been to, matter of fact, let's go to it now. Let's go to it now. Let's go to it right now. Let's go to it right now. What is that? Daniel 7. Yep. This is Daniel 7 and 7. It's Daniel 7 and 7. It says this, and after this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly, right? This fourth beast being the Roman Empire, right? You had the Babylonian Empire that's mentioned here in this chapter, the Medo-Persian Empire that's mentioned here in this chapter, the Grecian Empire, right, which we'll touch on this a little bit too, and then the Roman Empire, okay? And you can really, honestly, you can say this for the Grecian Empire too, and that they ruled with force, right? Whereas the other kingdoms before it, right, there was some level of benevolence, right? They had some level of mercy on the children of the Heavenly Father, or the children of God, right? But Edom, whenever they've been in power, whenever they've ruled, they did so with an iron fist and force in the threat of death, right? It says this, and it had great iron teeth, right? It devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it. And it had 10 horns. Okay. So the point in here is these iron teeth that they devoured with, right? They devoured and break in pieces. You think of an animal tearing another animal, let's say like a lion tearing another animal to shreds, right? That's what I think of when I hear this, right? And so they ruled with iron teeth, right? So when you go to Micah and it says, take them by violence, this is who it's talking about. You see how you piece the scriptures together like this, right? So that's your heritage. And really, this is why they latch on to Israelite heritage, whether it be in niggerdom or our actual culture and heritage, because theirs is shameful. What do the scriptures say? Matter of fact, let's go there. What is that? Um, yeah, Sirach. It's where is it? Sirach 41. Oops. Sirach 41. I think it's the 7th verse. Sirach 41 and 7. It says this. It says the children will complain of an ungodly father because they shall be reproached for his sake. Right. So blame your forefathers. Blame them. They don't have a rich history of creating, right? Using the earth for its beauty, right? They take from it. They take from it. They take from it until there's nothing left, and there's no nutrients in the earth, right? The people are worn down, right? This is your heritage. Your heritage is one of destruction. The earth is in, let's say that this way, the earth is suffocating because Edom is in rule, right? Chemtrails, the crops don't grow properly, right? Can't get a decent grape with a seed in it, can't get a decent watermelon with a seed in it, right? This is your heritage. Your heritage is one of destruction. And if you want to claim, a culture and heritage, claim that. You were good at it. you you were you were excellent at it, right? So let's go back. I done pulled up. I read this, read that, read Micah. Okay, let me read Micah, the second verse, one more time. It says this, and they covet fields. Let me see what we got going on here. Okay. And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage, right? And so this is their history. This is what they've done. So if you're a native to anything, it's pillage, right? So let's go back. Let's watch some more of this. Edomite. Look at this. He looked like a caveman.
Born here in my family lineage is settlers from the 15.
Right. And so he realized I said I was born here after I told him he couldn't be a native here for being born here. Now I got to add my settlers from the 1500s, right?
100. So I have some stake in it. And
So I have some stake in it, he says, right? Let's keep going.
okay. Claim here, okay?
But you're
a little different.
You're
than
a
yours.
descendant of immigrants, settlers,
I didn't know.
colonialists.
Yeah,
You don't
colonials.
look
Yeah.
very Native American to me.
I am Native American. Whites
no.
are Native Americans. What are you
Sorry.
talking about?
No,
What are you talking about?
You're not.
Whites are Native Americans.
really.
What
was happening
Calm
before-
down. I think you're getting.
What was happening before the 1500s?
There was indigenous people here that came here
Do
from
you know what
Asia.
indigenous means?
Listen, before
Indigenous
America,
people come
let
from
me
somewhere
finish.
else.
Why do you ask a question if you're going to interrupt?
I'm not sure if you know what the meaning of indigenous means.
I do know what it means. It
Doesn't
means
sound
they
like it.
came here first, right? They came here from Asia by way of land bridge. Have an argument with Neil deGrasse Tyson or anybody else about that. I don't care.
Which is a crock of shit. No land bridge in the Bering Strait. It's one of them pieces of quote unquote history that I hate hearing. They walked across the Bering Strait. So I always say this. So it was so cold that the ocean froze where they could walk across it, but it wasn't cold enough for them to die. Right? Where'd they get the food from? Where were they eating? Right? No, they didn't cross no Bering Strait, no land bridge. They came over here on boat, right? Fleeing the Assyrians captivity. That's how they got over here. And when they got here, before they got here, they said this: let's go to a place where never mankind dwelt. So that means they were the first to settle here, right? But again, like it says in Second Ezra 6, this is our earth. Wherever we go, that's ours. The Lord made the world for the nation of Israel. We're going to be the rulers of this world. Okay? So I read a couple of different things. Let's go to this to support what it says in Micah. Let's go. I read this one, so let me go use this tab here, and I'm gonna go to John 10 because now we're getting an idea of who this guy is. John 10 and 10. It says, "The thief cometh not, but for to steal and to kill and to destroy. I am come that they may have life and that they may have it more abundantly," right? So this is their modus operandi. Steal, kill, and destroy. And that's what they do. Any land that looked better than theirs, they burned it down. Look what they did in Tulsa, Oklahoma. That's just one. There are many let's say so-called black settlements here in the United States of America that were either burned down or commandeered, right? All of these places, think about these places that are national parks now, and all it is just a bunch of land with trees in it, and they call it a national park. Those were black settlements. Here in Massachusetts, in the town I grew up in, Brockton, they got a place called D.W.'s Field Park. Those were settlements. It's a golf course now. Look at these places that they call golf courses, places where they put zoos, right? These were so-called black settlements all over this country. Chicago, California, all of these places were black settlements, and they commandeered them for their own. And they're still trying to do that to this day. Matter of fact, you can look up this history. So in the Carolinas, they have a people called the Gullah, right? Which were they could either be Judah or Benjamin, right? They got a Benjamin vibe to them, right? So I don't know. They could be they could be Levi too, but they call themselves Gullah. That's the name of the people that are in the Carolinas. They have been fighting to assume their land in the Carolinas for decades here in this country, right? And what they're trying to do, what the United States government is trying to do, is take it and use the land for golf courses. And they've done it in many cases in some of that land in the Carolinas, right? But that's further proof of this is what they do. They take the land from the people that it belongs to. That is your culture. You're not a native anywhere. Not even in the land that bears your name, which is Mount Seir or Edom, is your land. That land was first the Horites, right? Now, through process of time and war, the Heavenly Father allowed you to take that place, but it wasn't yours. There's just a start to your pillage throughout the earth. Okay. So now, I want to read this one last thing. This one last thing. Do I want to read this yet? No, I don't. So when you go into history, right, there are biblical history, namely, but there are a couple of people. Matter of fact, let me pull something up real quick. Excuse me. Where would that be? Where would that be? Let me see. And here is called The Rest of Esther, I believe, but they never. Let me see here. The Rest of Esther. Am I passing it? Oh, Editions of Esther. Here. I want to go here. And go here. And go here. There's some good stuff in here. So when you go into biblical history, right, there are two people, right, that are let's say reminiscent of Edomite culture, right, which we're getting into, which is to jostle themselves into position, and then once they get into position, manipulate the power so that they can take the power seat, right? The first one speaks of it's spoken of explicitly how it was done, which is Haman, right? Matter of fact, let's go here first. Let's go here first. The first one is Haman, right? And let's read a little bit about Haman. Okay. So Haman was an Edomite. Okay. The proof of that is this right here in the first verse. So it's this is Esther 3:1. After these things did King Ahasuerus promote Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, and advanced him and set his seat above all the princes that were with him. Right. So Agag was an Edomite, and what they're saying here is that this Haman is a descendant of them, son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, right? So he was from Agag, right, which is one of the Edomites that survived. Okay, and so this Haman, right, worked his way up into a power seat, right? It says, after these things did King Ahasuerus promote Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, and advanced him and set his seat above all the princes that were with him. And what did he do when he got that power? It says, and all the king's servants that were the king's gate, that were in the king's gate, bowed and reverenced Haman, for the king had so commanded concerning him. But Mordecai, right, who was an Israelite, bowed not, nor did him reverence, right? Then the king's servants, which were in the king's gate, said unto Mordecai, why transgressest thou the king's commandment? Now it came to pass, when they spake daily unto him, and he hearkened not unto them, they had told Haman to see whether Mordecai's matters would stand, for he had told them that he was a Jew. And when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence, then was Haman full of wrath, right? And so we know this story, right? What did Haman do? Because of this wrath that that happened due to Mordecai not bowing to him after Ahasuerus had given him this power, he went on a rampage and said, look, to Ahasuerus, we should kill all the Israelites. we should anywhere they are in your 127 provinces, we should kill them all. And that's where we get the Day of Purim from, right? But what's important though is once Ahasuerus caught wind of what Haman was really doing, this is the letter that he sent out to all those 127 provinces that he previously sent letters to have the Israelites killed. This is what he said. Okay. It says this. It says, this is the editions of Esther, or the rest of Esther, chapter 16. Right. I'm gonna start at 1. It says, the great king Artaxerxes unto the princes and governors of 127 provinces from India unto Ethiopia, and unto all our faithful subjects, greeting. Many, the more often they are honored with the great bounty of their gracious princes, the more proud they are waxing, right? So in other words, there's a lot of people, right, who when they're honored, right, with great bounty, right, they become proud, right? So he said this happens this can happen to anybody who's honored and has people underneath them, right? They get proud, right? This is what he's saying here. Verse 3, and endeavor to hurt not our subjects only, but not being able to bear abundance, do take in hand to practice also against those that do them good, right? So even even though they're being reverenced, right, they want to hurt the people because they themselves can't bear abundance, right? It says this, and take not only thankfulness away from among men, right, but also lift it up with the glorious words of lewd persons that were never good. They think to escape the justice of the Most High, right? Meaning what? They think that because they're so high up, right? But matter of fact, what is it? Their priests pity them not, or their what is that? What is that? Let me see if I can find it. It is no, it's what is that? It is I think it's Isaiah. And shepherds pity them not. Is it Isaiah 10? Let's see. This is not quite it, but I want to read this anyway. This is Isaiah 10 and 13. It says, for he saith, by the strength of my hand have I done it, and by my wisdom, for I am prudent, and I have removed the bounds of the people, and have robbed their treasures, and I have put down the inhabitants like a valiant man, and my hand hath found as a nest the riches of the people. And as one gathereth eggs that are left, have I gathered all the earth, and there was none that moved the wing or opened the mouth. Right? Where's that scripture that says in there, shepherds pity them not? I'll have to look for that another time. Right. So going back to here, it says this, right? Yep. They think to escape the justice of the Most High. So going back to that in Isaiah, right? When you go back to that in Isaiah, what did he say? He said that they think that they've done this by their own power, but what did the Lord say? Because of that pride and because of that what did I say? Pride, they're going to be taken out of the way, right? It says, oftentimes also fair speech of those that are put in trust to manage their friends' affairs have caused many that are in authority to be partakers of innocent blood, right? So Ahasuerus was like, yo, he was trying to get us to kill these people. They didn't even do nothing, right? And hath enwrapped them in remediless calamities, beguiling, right? Let's see what that word beguiling means. Charming or enchanting, often in a deceptive way. You see? Beguiling with the falsehood and deceit of their lewd disposition, the innocency and goodness of princes. Now ye may see this, as we have declared, not so much by ancient histories as ye may, if ye search what hath been wickedly done of late through the pestilent behavior of them that are unworthily placed in authority. Right? So you ain't even got to go into history. So even though that's what we're doing right now, hey, Ahasuerus said, look, you can figure out and see this, what they've done as of late, right? Through their pestilent behavior, right? And we must take care for the time to come that our kingdom may be quiet and peaceable for all men. You see, so other rulers, they had some level of benevolence, man. But Edom, they don't have benevolence in them. That's all they do is take, right? Both by changing our purposes and always judging things that are evident with more equal proceeding, right? For Haman, a Macedonian, the son of Amadatha, being indeed a stranger from the Persian blood and far distant from our goodness, and as a stranger received of us, had so far forth obtained the favor that we show toward every nation, as that he was called our father and was continually honored of all the next person unto the king. But he, not bearing his great dignity, went about to deprive us of our kingdom and life, having by manifold and cunning deceit sought of us the destruction as well of Mordecai or Mordecaius. That's the Greek way of saying it, who saved our life and continually procured our good, as also of blameless Esther, partaker of our kingdom, with their whole nation. For by these means he thought, finding us destitute of friends, to have translated the kingdom of the Persians to the Macedonians. And this is what he was trying to do. And this is what Edom does. They go in, set themselves up in power seats, and then take over, right? Which leads me to the second person, Herod, right, who did the same thing, right? I'm trying to debate whether I should go through it now for sake of time. I'm going to get into the second part because I think I've done a show on this recently on my man Herod there. So yeah, I'm gonna stop here for sake of time, and Lord's will tonight when I get back from work, I'm gonna touch on the rest of this. So I'll stop here. Hopefully that's been edifying thus far. I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai Bashem, Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Honor and salutation to the elect. And with that, I say shalom.